In addition to the fallacies of relevance and presumption we examined in our previous videos, there are several patterns of incorrect reasoning that arise from the imprecise use of language. An ambiguous word, phrase, or sentence is one that has two or more distinct meanings. The inferential relationship between the propositions included in a single argument will be sure to hold only if we are careful to employ exactly the same meaning in each of them. The fallacies of ambiguity all involve a confusion of two or more different senses. The first type is equivocation. An equivocation trades upon the use of an ambiguous word or phrase in one of its meanings in one of the propositions of an argument, but also in another of its meanings in a second proposition. One example of that could be really exciting novels are rare, but rare books are expensive. Therefore, really exciting novels are expensive. Here, the word rare is used in different ways in the two premises of the argument. So, the link they seem to establish between the terms of the conclusion is spurious. In its more subtle occurrences, this fallacy can undermine the reliability of otherwise valid deductive arguments. The other type is amphibly. An amphibly can occur even when every term in an argument is univocal, if the grammatical construction of a sentence creates its own ambiguity. For example, a reckless motorist Thursday struck and injured a student who was jogging through the campus in his pickup truck. Therefore, it is unsafe to jog in your pickup truck. In this example, the premise could be interpreted in different ways, creating the possibility of a fallacious inference to the conclusion. Moreover, we have the fallacy of accent, which arises from an ambiguity produced by a shift of spoken or written emphasis. For example, George turned in his assignment on time today. Therefore, George usually turns his assignments late. Here, the premise may be true if read without inflection, but if it is read with heavy stress on the last word, seems to imply the truth of the conclusion. Next, we have the fallacy of composition, and it involves an inference from the attribution of some feature to every individual member of a class to the possession of the same feature by the entire class. For example, every course I took in college was well organized. Therefore, my college education was well organized. Even if the premise is true of each and every component of my curriculum, the whole could have been a chaotic mess, so this reasoning is defective. Lastly, we have the fallacy of division, which involves an inference from the attribution of some feature to an entire class to the possession of the same feature by each of its individual members. Moving on to the fallacies of diversion, one type of this is the strawman fallacy. This fallacy occurs when, in attempting to refute another person's argument, you address only a weak or distorted version of it. Strawman is the misrepresentation of an opponent's opposition or a competitor's product to tout one's own argument or product as superior. This fallacy occurs when the weakest version of an argument is attacked while stronger ones are ignored. Lastly, we have the red herring fallacy, which is like a strawman except the arguer completely ignores their opponent's position and simply changes the subject. The arguer diverts the attention of the audience to a new subject. A red herring is a smelly smoked fish that was used to train hunting dogs to track smells by dragging this fish along a path as practice. So the fallacy gets its name because it means to trick people into following a different path of reasoning than the one at hand. You may wonder how a person can get away with simply changing the subject. Successful use of the red herring usually involves shifting the subject to something tangentially related.